Withy Pool lies in the pleasant countryside of Bedfordshire in the outskirts of a small village known as Lower Stondon. The 3-acre clay pit was created by the Gaskin family about 80 years ago. The pit was dug entirely by hand with shovels and pickaxes, and it's easy to imagine why it took so many years to complete. The northern end, of about 1.5 acres, was first dug to a depth of some 30 feet. When completed, work commenced on the remaining section, and spoil from this section was tipped into the first part. As the years went by, water filled some of the deeper sections, whilst willows and hawthorns took root around the remainder. This drawing, which accompanies the deeds of the property, clearly show this. Work on the second section took a lot longer than that of the first, mainly because of the high water table surrounding the property. The owners were forced to dig a 40-foot well, and this was built of bricks. Even today, if one dons an aqualung, this can clearly be seen from under the water. A large electrical pump was installed, and the batteries from which it was powered had to be taken 5 miles to Hitchin by horse and cart to be recharged twice weekly. The clay was quite unusual in that it was a bright yellow colour. It was used to fire bricks on site to create the famous Arlesey bricks, which many of the local properties were built of. The southern end of the pit took many years to complete. In fact, it was never really finished. The father of the family was called away on national service. The battery-driven pumps were switched off, and the inevitable happened: the pit began to flood. By the time Mr. Gaskin came back, the pit was no longer a viable proposition, and Maylin's Pool was born. Fish soon became established, like you would expect, and the roach, bream, pike, tench were fished for by all the local anglers. In the 1940s, a transport cafe was built here, and Maylin's Pool was becoming rapidly well known. Huge perch and pike were rumoured to live in the lake, and for the first time ever, big carp were being talked about. A local angler living in nearby Biggleswade was the country's leading expert on carp fishing. He'd recently broken the carp record with a huge fish from Redmire Pool and was on the lookout for other carp waters. His name was Richard Walker, and in 1959 he wrote this feature about Maylin's Pool in Angling Times.
Every year about this time, I get shoals of letters from anglers who want to know where they can find a water holding big carp, where day tickets are obtainable. For reasons which I have explained in Angling Times, I cannot undertake to advise readers about where to fish, only how to fish. But now and then I do find a water where tickets are available and the owner or club doesn't mind the fact being known. One such water is Maylin's Pool at Henlow Camp in Bedfordshire, about 10 miles south of Bedford. Day tickets cost 3 shillings and sixpence and can be obtained at the pool. The water holds carp over 20 pounds in weight, as well as some good tench, perch and crucian carp. There are also rudd and roach and some big pike. This pool was the scene of a most creditable piece of angling on the part of a lady, Mrs. Frances Ray, who caught a carp of 18.5 pounds from it last August. Not only did she catch this splendid fish on a rod made from a steel aerial, a 7-pound breaking strain line and a number 8 hook, she did so under great difficulties. All around were immovable snags in the shape of submerged trees, some dead, some still alive. From these she had to hold her fish or lose it, and it was pitch dark. Maylin's is not an easy water from which to catch carp, but big fish are there, and Mrs. Ray and her husband, who himself has had 2 18-pounders, have proved they can be caught. Successful baits have been crust, flake and bread paste, but I believe potato would succeed too, if used for ground bait in advance, and it would keep the roach, rudd and tench at bay better than any of the bread baits will do. The accompanying pictures show Mrs. Ray catching her carp and some of the difficulties she overcame. If you fancy your chances of overcoming them too, you're welcome to try for 3 shillings and 6pence a day.
Mayling's Pool was now becoming famous for its large carp that were very difficult to catch. In fact, Dick Walker personally admitted to me that he found it impossible to land the fish. He'd hooked one or two, but the massive underwater trees and snags that had grown before the pit was flooded made it impossible for him to land them. Many carp anglers from all over came to fish the pool for the monsters that were rumoured to live here. In fact, Jack Hilton was enthralled by it, and he spent thousands of hours trying to catch its cunning carp. His experiences can be read in one of the most outstanding carp books of all time, Quest for Carp. In it, he refers to mainlings as junelings in an attempt to keep the water secret. The carp enjoyed a life at ease at mainlings. They grew bigger and bigger, and if they were unlucky enough to make a mistake and get hooked, they only had to swim a few yards to the sanctuary of the underwater forest. In the 60s, the property was to change hands once again, and the place became known as Pool Cafe. The transport cafe was extended, and all the vegetation between the road and the lake was bulldozed flat to make a parking area for the ever-increasing number of lorries. It wasn't long before litter became strewn all over the place. Trees were cut down and burnt, and local yobbos were left to run riot. This pitiful situation existed for 23 years, until the property was to change hands once again. But this time it was a caring carp angler who would put his life and soul into transforming the lake into one of the best waters in the country. The transport cafe had been closed down for 2 years and was becoming derelict, which meant that we had to live with our 18-month-old daughter in near squalor. I all but gave up carp fishing for 2 years, whilst I converted the old cafe into a house on a virtually non-existent budget. At the same time, I had to commence the enormous task of transforming the land and lake whilst continuing to run our publishing business. But it was not all doom and gloom. I had achieved a lifelong ambition of owning my own carp lake in the back garden. Now it was only a matter of time and sheer hard work. At first, day tickets were continued and a night syndicate formed. Fortnightly working parties were organised, but it still took 2 years to clear the main bulk of underwater trees. I soon learned the skills of scuba diving, as wire hawsers had to be fixed around the base of the trees, more than 70 of them, in order that they could be winched out. A turfer winch was used to do this, and then the wire cable was attached to a Land Rover, which was then driven as fast as possible to pull out the trees. All of these trees were rooted in the bottom, and some took more than 10 tons of pressure to wrench their roots out of the lake bed. In the space of 2 years, 3/4 of a mile of fencing had been erected, the whole property re-landscaped, and more than 100 species of trees had been planted. Every swim on the lake was rebuilt, and to make it more comfortable for the anglers, we erected a Syndicate shed and a toilet and shower block. I had no fishery management experience whatsoever, but applied logic into creating a super carp fishery. Although the lake record stood at 28.5 pounds, most of the carp were old and stunted, and there appeared to be very little natural food. My plan was to remove at least 50% of the total fish population of the lake, and this included tench and bream and all carp under 18 pounds. 2 summers later, by rod and line methods, we had removed nearly 1 tonne of fish, and it was then that we noticed a dramatic change. The natural food began to multiply and the carp began to grow. At first, the average carp growth rate was 2 pounds a year. Now this might not sound very much, but when you think that some of the remaining carp were old ones, this meant that some of the younger ones were growing 3 or 4 pounds a year, and I was very satisfied with that. Later, it was necessary to look at all of the big fish independently. I've prepared some graphs. Let's have a look at the progress of some of these fish. The first example is one known as the common. This is almost certainly a very old fish, and possibly one from Redmire Pool, as Dick Walker told me shortly before he passed away that he did put some red mire fish into the lake. This fish had a lucky escape. I decided in 1990 to remove it after it had shown a miserable growth rate of only 1 pound in 5 years. However, the next time it was caught, it had put on 4 pounds in just 4 months, so we were persuaded to give it a little longer. As you can see, the fish has continued to put on weight, albeit very slowly, and it has now reached 30 pounds. I doubt if it will grow much bigger, but you never know. The second fish is another old original known as Fenner's 18. The history of each fish varies greatly, and it's interesting to note that it was not until 9 years after I acquired the lake that this fish was first caught on a boilie. Amazingly, it had been caught only twice in that period, once on sweet corn and once on tiger nuts. I am convinced that until around 1994 this fish never fed on boilies, during which time it increased substantially in weight. However, as soon as it began to get caught on boilies, its growth ceased. You will see Alan Taylor catch this difficult fish later in the film. The next fish is one of the biggest in the lake. It's got no name, so we'll refer to it as the 40. This enormous carp has put on 20 pounds in 10 years and is probably capable of reaching 50 pounds in the perfect environment. Here you can see it at the first time over 40. Dennis Woolard admires all 41 pounds of it. The fourth example is the pride of Withy, Scaly, a truly handsome fish which every member dreams of catching. It is an extremely clever fish, having been caught only 5 times in the last 10 years. Being a very careful feeder is no doubt the reason why this fish is not growing quite as fast as some of the other big fish. You will see from the amateur footage of Robert Coote's winter capture, when it weighed 39.14, that it has a very big frame and could easily carry a lot of weight. Next is an example of a perfectly natural occurrence, but one that is devastating to both anglers and fishery owners. It's a fish that was at one time the lake record at 41 pounds, having grown more than 12 pounds in 3 years. The fish then developed a health problem and laid up amongst some snags, clearly visible for about 3 months, during which time it continually lost weight and eventually got fungused up. It was down to 35.75 pounds when we buried it. Unlike humans, carp can't go to the doctors, and sometimes the simplest of internal problems can cause death. It was Withy's first ever 40, caught only once over the magical mark, then dead. At the time, all our hard work seemed wasted. For a very different reason, this fish, known as KM's 35, has an interesting history. Like all of Withy's biggest fish, it is young and capable of growing massive. This fish did well in the late 80s, increasing from 28 pounds to 35 pounds in a little over 2 years. Then an accident happened. In the excitement of the capture, the lucky angler forgot to check the position of the fish in the landing net. With the carp pointing skywards, he lifted it with all the weight acting on the tail, and snap! 25% of the tail had been broken off. Being a young growing fish, it was able to completely regrow its tail, but at first it lost weight, then slowly regained it, taking 2 years to get back to 35 pounds. It appears from this and other similar instances we've had at Withy that a growing fish can repair major damage, but only at the cost of growth. Since then, there's been no looking back for KM's 35, and it's gone up and up. Here you see one of Withy's 3 lady members, Janet Clements, with the fish at 41.5 pounds. At the time, the largest carp ever caught by a lady. It's a long, muscly fish and puts up one hell of a fight. Well done, Janet. This last example is of how well the Withy stockfish are doing. Moonscale was stocked in 1991 at a mere 3 pounds. 2 years later it weighed 19.75. That's more than 8 pounds a year, and now it's probably over 30, having last been caught at 28.25 pounds. More than 25 pounds growth in just 5 years. In 1994, 10 fully scaled mirrors of just 12 ounces were stocked. Now these fish are into mid-doubles within 2 years. If you look at this next graph, you will see that the average weight of all carp caught rose steadily by 2 pounds a year until 91-92, when all of a sudden it stopped. Through the mid-80s, I'd continually removed fish, and this, together with the occasional natural death, ensured that the total poundage of carp did not increase too much. However, in the late 80s, virtually nothing was removed, and with every carp in the lake putting on an average of 2 pounds a year, it wasn't long before the balance had been tipped. Immediate action was needed, and in 1992 several of the poorer fish were removed. Growth rates soon returned, and I now keep a very constant eye on the problem. Whilst it's very interesting to look at each fish individually, there is another aspect that needs constantly reviewing, and that is the total poundage of carp in the lake. It's no good creating an understocked fishery where the natural food multiplies and growth rates are good if you're then going to totally neglect it. Each year, the population of carp is growing, so the lake is becoming more and more heavily stocked. And if you're trying to create the sort of fishery that we are at Withy, then you need to remove fish from time to time. When I first purchased the property in the mid-80s, my ambition was to create a fishery that held only 30-pounders. By the mid-90s, we had achieved this, 17 30s, including 4 40s in just 3 acres of water. The problem is, 10 years ago, 30s were huge fish. Now everybody wants 40s. Well, at the moment, we have about 10 fish in the lake that are of the right strain and young enough to hold weights of well over 40. So my plan is to continue with the policies that have been so successful for us up till now. Anyway, that's the story so far. Let's join the Syndicate on the opening week of the 96th season.
Well done, Ricardo.
Awesome.
Well done, mate. Oh.
Is it a big boy?
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, it is a nice owl on 28 mil.
Okay. Yeah, immaculate, isn't it?
Beautiful fish, isn't it? Oh,
Look up.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Is it heavy, mate?
Oh, look at him go. Beautiful. Yeah!
That's it.
No sooner had Richard returned his fish than Alan Taylor was in. The fully scaled mirror. Neither's got boots on. It's going to get covered in mud now.
Take that.
You got the pole?
Yeah. Manage.
Just about.
Yes. Not bad, is it?
Cool.
It does look big.
Doesn't it?
Big. 30, I bet.
Yeah, it's a lot bigger than when I had it.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Comes out about twice a year, this fish. Very pretty fish. Although, as I say, it's a very old one. Past its best, I think. Just about.
Fought quite well though, didn't he?
Yeah. Alan was up the tree, watching it come along, then he got down, didn't you, Alan?
Yeah.
And off it went. Had a little false bite just beforehand, didn't you?
Nearly made me dive out the tree to me death. 28, isn't it?
28.2.
Yeah.
28.2.
Magic.
After that?
Yeah.
Yeah, shame it wasn't
Well done,
30, but they can't all be, can they?
Yeah, well done, mate. Well done.
Well done.
Excellent. Blimey, Kev.
Excuse my arse. Put a touch more water on it.
Don't move, man, don't move. 32. 32.
Yo!
2.
You can't hold it. Martin gets so
32,
excited when he holds someone.
32. DW. Thank you, mate.
32.
Cheers.
2 in less than an hour, Mr. Alan Taylor.
Okay.
Oh,
Okay.
oh,
Nobody do that again, would they? Stupid, twice.
You won't get a picture of that, I didn't.
Once is a joke, twice, take the piss. Yeah, yes. Got a few more ideas.
Go on out. Nice clean water now.
oh, brilliant.
It's too deep.
Stay there, Al.
I can't swim.
Oh no! You Wally!
Too deep.
That's Alex.
Yeah! Look at that!
And still the boots remain dry. At Wacker Catcher Products, we certainly believe in field testing our new products.
Well, the season's about 24 hours old now, June the 16th, and there's 11 anglers fishing. There's 15 swims altogether, so there's 3 or 4 swims empty. And I thought I'd come round and have a chat to Richard because he's had 1 big fish already and he's also lost a fish, so he's obviously doing something right. So Richard, perhaps you can tell us what you're doing and why.
Yeah, basically fishing 3 different areas. Got 1 bait in the channel to the side of the snag there, a bait on the tip of the snag, both in clear areas, 50 or 60 baits around each, and then a further bait fished about 20 yards out in 5 foot of water just on the drop off. Again, more bait around that 150 baits.
And are you getting any weed problem further out?
Yeah, it's a little bit weedy, not horrendously weedy. I mean, straggly wind, probably 3 or 4 inches long. But yeah, I mean, as you'd expect for that area of the lake, not as bad as some areas, but fortunately the 2 areas on the snags that I'm fishing are very clear.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that's
We
fine.
should tell the viewer that we're halfway along the west bank, and at this position, the deep water finishes and the shallow water starts. And to Richard's left here, it's very shallow and very weedy. We're talking about 6 feet deep,
Yeah.
but 3 feet of blanket weed,
Yeah.
which is a big problem to deal with.
Yeah.
Tell me, how did you catch the fish? What on and how?
I'm using Wacker Catcher fish meals at the moment. I tend to fish to the snags locked up, bait runners in the off position. That way, obviously the butts are gripped tight. The fish can't actually take too much line into the snag, which is important.
And the clutch tight as well.
Clutch
So
absolutely
the
locked
rod
up.
really bends over,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
you've got control of the fish before you
Yeah.
actually pick up the rod. Then, yeah.
Basically, the fish can't get up into speed, and it's on the surface, and then obviously you can get him away from the snag
Yeah.
before he dives in.
Was it quite near the snags?
Yeah, the one it's about 3 foot off the tip of the snags, middle rod.
And did it try to get in or not?
Oh yeah,
It
yeah,
did,
yeah, really struggled to get in.
So you've got a strong tackle there.
Oh yeah, 15-pound minimum main line. Long tubing is very helpful. I mean, obviously if it tends to run up and down the snag, there's some protection
Yeah.
there. So actually
Yeah.
fishing bottom baits at the moment. Obviously a lot of the lads fish pop-ups because of the weed. Fishing a pop-up on the left-hand rod. But I prefer to fish bottom baits around the snags.
Yeah.
Slightly different to what I think the majority of the lads do.
The fish you've caught is your personal best.
Personal best, 34-pound 12.
That was fabulous, that one.
Immaculate fish.
Yeah, it was. Beautiful fish. And you lost one as well. Tell us why you
Yeah, I
lost
lost one on the left-hand rod, in 20 yards out on the side of the bar, or just on the drop-off. A good pick-up, rod went round, hit into it, and unfortunately the hook pulled. So obviously wasn't hooked well enough. Didn't put too much pressure on. It was powering away, so the rod was well bent over. Just come out.
Whereabouts did you hook the other fish that you landed? Was it on the outside of the mouth or on the inside?
No, inside the mouth, about half an inch in, just into the corner.
Because if you'd have hooked that on the outside of the mouth and you pulled out of one,
Yeah.
then perhaps it would be worth lengthening your hook length. But when you've got two fish hooked completely different, then there's not much you can do about that, unless you get more action. Well, the season's only 24 hours underway. You've had a personal best, you lost a fish. So you're here till Friday?
Yeah, Friday.
It's another 5
yeah.
days. And I should think you're pretty confident in getting another fish or two, aren't you?
Very confident, very confident.
Right, so we'll come and have a chat to you in a day or two's time, okay?
Excellent. Thanks a lot. Cheers.
Let's hope it's not another cat.
Within a minute of leaving Richard's swim, I was standing next to Noel, who was bent into his second fish.
Crayfish. Oh, it's a cat again! How come you're the catfish expert?
I don't know. Middle of the day.
I'm fishing for cats, I ain't caught one. Noel's fishing for cats and he's had 2 cats.
Squid meal boilies.
Yeah.
Oh, we'll get some squid then.
In the middle of the day.
Yeah.
Like one or two of our members. Big mouth, fat belly.
Oh, it's full of them.
Fat belly, isn't it? It's full of all your boilies.
It's full of them. Yeah.
Yeah, you can feel crays in there.
Can you?
Yeah. Full of crays, yeah. Not happy with crays, he had to have a squid meal boil as well.
So perhaps you ought to get some crays out in the trap, dip them in squid meal enhancer, and put them on the end of your hook.
That was an exclusive, by the way.
He is, but he's in lovely condition, isn't he? Look at that, immaculate. That's the colour you expect a Withy Pool cat to be. The one that Alan had the other day was slate grey on top, you know, very light.
Yeah.
Beautiful. This is the reed swim at the southern end of the lake, and out in front of us we've got a very deep hole, about 30 feet deep, which is a lovely winter spot, but in the summer obviously we're fishing the shelves of the bowl and the margins. And this is Martin, one of our more colourful members, and he's fishing down to the left here to some snags which we call a pallet. I don't know why we call it a pallet, but that's the name it's been given. Anyway, Martin, perhaps you can tell us a little bit about what's been happening, what you've been doing right from the beginning.
Well, first got here, thought I sussed out where I wanted to put my baits. I thought I'd stick 2 on the snags because I didn't want to obviously fish in too deeper area. I've not felt confident at all. I've not seen no fish in there for the first sort of 24 hours. Then I popped up the tree and I see a couple of fish come in, one of them being Gary Linear.
Yeah.
And when I looked down at my baits, I thought I must have put more in than that. So I kept my eye on that. Didn't have no action. Cast out the next night, still no action.
No.
Thought the same thing again in the morning, which was this morning. I see 4 fish in there. One of them still being the Linear, and a couple of smaller ones, and one real big one. It got to a stage where I was getting a bit bored, getting fed up, debating whether to pack up and clear off, go back to work, save my holiday.
Or looking forward to someone leaving so you can get in there.
That's right, yeah. But I
Yeah.
mean, they're all staying here anyway. You know.
But that's carp fishing, isn't it?
Oh yeah, that's right.
You did all you could. You had to have this swim because we drew for swims at the start.
right, yeah.
You had no choice, and you were losing confidence. And then this afternoon, what time? I wasn't here, but
It was about 11 o'clock, half 11 this morning.
right. You just had a run,
Just flew off, took off
and you caught
on the snag rod.
the
Yeah,
one we
caught
called the Linear, which is
that's
a
right, yeah.
beautiful fish.
well
Big
pleased with that.
scales all along the lateral line.
quite an old fish, we believe, but it's normally around 27, 28, but you had it at the best ever weight, didn't you?
Yeah, £29.12. I was well pleased with that, over the moon.
Lovely fish. Okay, well, there's been one other fish out today. Richard, who's already scored. He had a £20 koi, didn't he?
Yeah, that's
which
good.
is fabulous, and we filmed those two fish together. I think that's basically all that's happened today, but we're really looking forward to tonight. It's going to be the third night tonight, and everyone's keeping their fingers crossed for one of the real big fish. We know we've got 3 40s in the lake, possibly 4, and I'll come and see you tomorrow.
All right then.
All right.
Yeah, okay.
Cheers then.
Cheers.
Bye. Well, Richard's into another fish, so we're all keeping our fingers crossed that it's a good one. Looks like it was on his bait cast up the channel, because you could see him really giving it some stick, and it looked like it just clipped the branches as it came out, so he did really well to get it out. He's got it in open water now. Yes, it's in the net. All right, boys.
All right. Excellent. Can I just put it in your keep net, Kev?
Well, you're going to photograph it now?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
Just
lovely,
get some
right.
water first, yeah.
Do you want to wet the mat, or is it wet?
It's pretty wet.
How much it weigh?
£30.12.
Excellent, because it's not always a 30, is it, that one?
Yeah.
Watch out, Richard.
No, he's not. I told him not to.
Cheers, Steve.
I told him to do so.
How's that?
Look better if you smiled.
Yeah?
Oh look, Martin's doing a splash for you, Richard.
No, yeah, it's nice fish.
Okay.
I don't know.
All right. Cheers.
You already had that one.
I think you deserve that one.
Hello.
Good stuff.
Next, it was the turn of Chris Knight.
Keep that tongue in, mate.
Okay.
£38, 12 ounces.
You call yourself a bodybuilder?
Biggest fish out so far this season.
Oh, for God's sake, Steve.
No.
Well, they're getting sponsored, aren't they? Getting a lot of money for this.
Can I put the water on?
Get an advert in there.
40 grand a year in a Range Rover.
Withy can be a difficult water any time of the year, but especially so in the winter. We'd like to take this opportunity to show you some pieces of amateur footage of recent winter captures. Couple more with your camera. Well, not bad for a January fish. I don't think there's been a fish out of Withy Pool in January for several years now, so well pleased with this one.
got at least another 2 or nearly 2 months of cold weather. And to be honest, I'd love to catch one of the real big ones. But I'm very happy with these. Okay. Okay, back it goes. It's 37, mate.
Obviously been in a snag at some time or other. Right.
Please tell me it's 30, a winter 30.
Oh,
Looking
really,
very
mate?
nice. No,
Nearly 29, about
You're
29,
joking.
15.
29.15. It's not.
No, you're all right.
You devil.
Hang on a minute. Can you hold it still?
No.
Oh, I showed you. It's 32.
Down on the
Is
mat,
it?
yeah. Isn't that gorgeous? Size of the head. What did it weigh? 32 what?
Well, 32 and a half.
32 and a half?
You have to learn to... Lovely.
All right, do a
Yeah,
couple
it's good.
more. Do a couple more while it's behaving itself. Back to the sound of summer.
This is a fish they call fenners, one of the original fish. Been in here since Kevin took over the lake. 29 pound. Had it first light this morning over a big bed of bait, close in. Fish went for a small snag, had to get the boat out. Just flipped off the snag and then it was just played it in open water. Fought very hard. Nice fish, this one. Last time it was out was 27.7 in, I think it was about November last year. Yeah, please, Mel. I trust you with a bucket, I don't trust none of them others. That's it, cheers, Mel. Yeah, caught it over about 500 baits on a little clear spot just off the snags. There we go. About 5:30 this morning, that was. Cheers, mate.
Now, Mr. Taylor's along here somewhere. Somewhere along here. Alan?
Who's that?
Kevin?
Oh, hello, mate. Got something to ask you.
Yeah?
Well, I've been having the old Mickey took out of me a bit lately, about my old hair going a bit thin on top. I mean, I can't see it myself, but you know what people are like. So,
Yeah.
I've started to wear a bit of a wig, but I don't want people to think it's funny, so I need your honest opinion whether they'll notice that it's a wig or not. You know what I mean?
Right.
See what you think. All right?
Yeah, fine, yeah.
Think.
Well,
Think they'll notice?
if you take the green beads off,
Yeah?
I don't think they'll notice.
That'd be all right, you think?
Yeah, yeah.
No, I don't want to
Perfect.
think I'm getting vain in my old age or nothing, but
No, it
You
looks
know.
right to me, mate.
just people have been taking the mickey a little bit.
Yeah, you know, it's been getting a bit thinner.
Yeah.
I did mention
Oh,
it
did?
myself a few times, didn't I?
No, I wish you'd have said, because I'd have worn it before, do you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
I should take the green beads
No,
off,
I'll do that then.
and I think that'll be all right.
Oh,
all right.
good. All right, mate. Well, I like an honest opinion, you know.
Yeah.
I don't want to look daft.
No, all right.
Now,
No, you won't look daft.
come on in, have a seat.
Well, Thought I'd come round and see how you're getting on. You've been catching a few, haven't you?
Yeah, I had 3 fish now. Been really pleased, yeah. It's gone really well. Yeah, well chuffed.
Tell us what you've been doing then. What's the secret?
Well, we had the draw. I was lucky I was first out the draw, so I got choice of swims. So I didn't, well, it's not the best swim on the lake, but I just sort of tried to sum things up, and I thought it's a quiet corner if I can keep quiet and all like that, and don't get a lot of interference from other anglers up here, you know, not so many lines in the water and that sort of thing. So it's not probably the most productive swim on the lake through the season, but I mean, it's a good swim, obviously, and the fish get up here. We had the draw, and I thought, well, give me a chance to get a little bit of bait in the water as well. So, been putting some bait in. Fish meal boilie like quite a lot.
Exactly what bait it is, what you've been doing?
No, I'd rather not really.
No?
It's, no. Just a new bait, and been putting a little bit of other stuff with it really, just to get the fish feeding on the bottom, you know, to clear them.
You're not known for your secrecy. I mean, in the papers a few weeks ago, you really shocked a few people when you said exactly what you were using. But, but you're not going to tell me now, no?
I don't want to upset people again, do you know what I mean? It's,
well, as it happens, I thought you'd say that. So, you know when you come out and baited up last Monday? I put the old diving gear on.
What?
And went down in your swim,
No.
and I had a look, and I found some little tiny black things with white specks on them, called hemp, and I picked up some boilies and took them back to the old laboratory and had them analysed, and it's perhaps best if I don't say the results now.
Because of the attentions we get from the old crays, all I do is just make the baits in plenty of time and just keep them in one of these.
In a paper sack sort of thing?
Yeah, it's an actual whack. It looks a bit like a vacuum cleaner dust bag, but it's an actual whacker catcher bait drying bag.
Is it?
Yeah, new on the market.
Oh,
actually,
lovely. Is that the finish? Is it a prototype or?
No, look, it's even got a little thing to seal them in. Do you know what I mean?
Cool, that's nice.
Yeah.
Any idea what they're going to sell for?
Well, you can actually buy them in the supermarkets at the minute. I mean,
can
people do call them vacuum cleaner bags. I don't know why, but I mean, we call them bait drying bags. You know, a little bit more expensive.
Yeah, well, I expect they've been
us,
copied. I mean, a lot of copying goes on these days, doesn't it?
And all I've been doing is just drying the baits right out. You know, so they're really hard.
You're not kidding.
But it works. It just I'm not bothered. It's only for the hook baits, but it makes them nice and hard.
Lovely.
And keeps the old crays at bay a little bit.
Yeah. What were the weights of your fish?
I had a 28.2, which was fully scaled. Then I had a son of Popeye, or Popeye's mate, at 32.
Yeah.
And then I had that Fenner's fish yesterday at 29, which is a fish that don't get caught. I mean, it's
once a year.
Yeah, once a year. It's a very hard fish to catch. So I was well chuffed with all 3 fish, you know. And it's been good. The other lads who've been using the bait, you know, we've been putting the bait in, and I mean, we've all done well on it. So, like you're saying, I mean, we put in a good bait. We put quite a bit of it in before the season started, and it seemed to have paid off.
I'm really interested in the bait, so I want to really ask you some more questions about it.
Yeah.
Is it a bait that's already on the market, or what?
No, it's a new one I've been trying out, using a lot of pre-digested fish meal this time. So we like to give them a real good try first before you bring them out on the market. So this has been a real good test this time, you know, on the water, because we seem to have got quite a few fish to actually get on the bait now, you know. So
well, it's the biggest catch ever on one bait in such a short time. I mean, obviously, if it continues through the season, then it's something special, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So what, apart from pre-digested fish meals and that, what else can you tell me?
Yeah,
I appreciate you can't tell me everything.
No, well, trying a normal flavour with an essential oil combination, like, so it's a bit of each. It's actual like a flavour with an essential oil, so you get the best of both things, because essential oils always seem to go well in a fish meal, you know. Yeah. And the flavour gives it a little bit of taste as well, you know, so we're using that. Got an enhancer in it as well, and a natural extract, so it's, you know, it looks really well. We tested it before, you know, at home in the old tanks and things, and it looks good, so...
Time will tell,
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
And what about a name for the baby? Have you got a name for it yet or not?
Well, you know, the trouble I've had lately with people saying about me names, I mean, I can't get serious over calling anything, you know, so got to be careful, and I've had a few sleepless nights about it, really, you know, thinking about what to call it and not to upset anybody and all like that, you know. been taking its toll on
Yeah.
me a little bit, like, you know.
Yeah, well, you have come under a bit of criticism on it. Don't it sort of get to you? Don't it worry you very much, you know?
Well, you know, some people have said it's, since I've been doing this old bait business, it's made me look a lot older and that, but,
Yeah.
I mean, I can't see it myself, you know, and at the end of the day, you know, I like to be fairly serious about me fishing and
Yeah.
the bait and all like that, so
Yeah.
we'll come up with a good name at the end of the day, I'm sure we will, you know, just try and please everybody.
Yeah. Well, some people say that it gets to you, some people say it don't. I mean,
Yeah,
you
I
just
don't.
have to make your
Yeah,
own mind up
that's
about
right.
it, and if you think it's not affected you too badly, then
No,
that's...
I mean,
no
I
problem.
always test the baits as well, you know, I eat a few myself like you do, you know.
Yeah.
Same sort of thing, I mean, they feel like they're doing me really good at the moment, you know, I've been...
Make you feel younger, I
Yeah,
suppose.
I've had like half a kilo a day I've been eating since I've been here, you know.
Have you?
Little drop of milk on them and that, oh, beautiful, you know. Oh.
Well, I must say you're looking better for it
Yeah.
anyway.
Yes,
Right,
thanks,
well, I'm going to move swim now.
mate. Okay
I'm
then,
going
mate.
into the double swim, which
Yeah.
Richard's vacating, because I'm not doing very well at the moment. I
No.
might even have to nick some of your bait.
Yeah. Well, I'm just going to have some more for breakfast, so
Yeah.
I'll see you later then, mate.
Okay,
Take it easy.
thanks very much.
All right, boy.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah, see you later.
Yeah, cheers and bye.
Well pleased. Fighter, isn't it? Yeah. Onward. Small scaly. Yoo-hoo! Finally got one for the camera. What a fish we call moon scale. This was originally stocked in 1991 at just under £3, and here we are now, 28.2. Change of swim for me. I've been 4 days in the little swim, which is a very, very weedy swim. And Les has just been out in the boat and some of my bait's still there, popping up to the surface.
Do you want me to use this up, Steve?
Yeah, just use it up, Dave. Hold on.
Oh, that's a good one.
Right, let's see what we got next door in this swim, shall we? My word, look at the rubbish in here. Oh, I thought as much. Robert, Robert, wake
Oh,
up.
I've got to run.
Hey? No, you haven't
Is
got to
it-
run,
oh,
no.
okay. Is it first lion?
I've told you about this litter in this swim before.
I
Make
don't know
sure
where it
it's-
all comes from.
Well, make sure, well, you look at it. I mean, make sure it's all cleared up when you go, mate.
Yeah, I
won't you?
will do, Kev, don't worry,
Because
mate.
it's,
Yeah.
it don't look very good, especially
Yeah.
with the camera around that.
Yeah.
Who's that?
Oh, this is my future wife to be.
Is it?
Yeah, lovely Dolores. She's carrying my child at the minute.
Is she?
Yeah. Do you think she's nice?
Yeah, very, very nice. How long have you been going out with her?
Well, been going out with her for about 3 months now.
3 months?
Yeah. And yeah, well, as I say, she's carrying my child now.
She looks like
She's
she is.
lost some weight.
Is she?
Yeah. Yeah, she was a lot bigger than that. So,
Really?
oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
she's beautiful. I can
Thank you
understand
very
you
much.
keeping her picture at your bedside, mate.
Yeah.
Yeah. What you got on this rod here then?
Well, I'll show you my methods if you want. I mean, because I have been fairly successful with you, like, you know.
Yeah,
I'll show
well,
you.
you've been one of the most successful members ever, really.
Oh, God, this always happens, doesn't it? Oh, let's reel it in. I've got to go back. Oh, we got something on there.
Have you?
Oh,
Hey,
I don't know.
oh, there's bubbles coming up out there.
Oh, no, I lost it.
Oh, what
This
a
has
shame. I
been-
bet it's been on there all night.
This has been a new method that I've been using that all the members have been trying to, nick off of me.
Have they?
Yeah.
It looks like an anti-weed rig or something.
It's one of those. Oh, that's it. So I've scaled down a lot from last year when I was catching a lot of the fish because I think my hooks
Yeah.
were putting them off a little, you know. So I've come down to a couple of doggy doodah lead sea like that. They look like a pair of old doggy doodahs.
Oh yeah.
And then come down to a shorter hook length and a small hook, what I call a small hook. Sharpened it up. Oh, I did sharpen it up. It was fairly sharp, and a couple of the small baits.
Right, yeah.
So I mean, it's been a good method for me.
I can see it. It probably works. You've got an anti-swivel hook as well. That's clever.
Yeah, it turns in the mouth, like, you know.
Yeah, what, into the bottom lip?
Tubing, yeah, that's it. So I mean,
Lovely, all right.
All these methods these other guys are using, I don't think they know what they're talking about.
Okay, well you're sponsored by Nutribaits, aren't you?
Nutribaits, yeah, nice people, Nutribaits.
Yeah?
Yeah, I mean...
They look after you, do they?
Yeah, I mean, obviously I couldn't afford the bait if they didn't supply it to me for like, a cheap price, you know.
Yeah.
But it seems to have worked, you know. I don't know what bait it was they give me.
Time.
I mean, I'd just like to mention my new company because I've been doing a lot of busking and that down in the markets and things, and got a bit of money together, and managed to buy this awesome Carp. You know,
which is the Robert Coote International Tours or something?
Gypsy travel, see, like.
Yeah.
You know, well, I got my horse is called Giddy Up. Giddy Up, and I've got a wooden tracks in. We're doing trips to France and that, if anyone's interested. So I mean, people have been saying to me, you've got to get yourself known and that.
Yeah, you've got to give it a mention on the video.
Yeah.
So, what does it cost? What have people got to bring with them?
Well, I mean, to start with, just to get the thing running, like, you know, you just got to bring a bit of fuel for the horse.
Right.
I mean, some people have been giving me bales of hay and that, and other people have been giving me carrots. So I mean, as long as we got that, we should have a good tour. I mean, it might take longer than conventional minibuses and things. I think once we got on that auto route, though, you know,
I've heard that horse and carts don't have to pay tolls, so that's quite a saving.
Yeah, it's a lot of saving. Yeah,
I can understand why you've switched from a minibus to that.
It's going to be good. Yeah.
Okay, mate. Well,
sorry I haven't caught a fish for the camera. I mean, I thought I was going to.
Well, you might do later. I mean, it's not often you blank, is it?
If I don't catch a fish for the rest of my life, you know, I'll be quite happy with what I've done at Withy Pool.
Yeah. Okay, you go back to sleep, mate.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll come see you later, perhaps, if you catch a fish, yeah?
Yeah, no problem.
All right.
No problem at all, Kev. Thanks for coming round and seeing me and that.
That's all right, you're welcome.
You know, just like to say thanks to Bill Cotton for the bait, and Richard Skid, whatever his name is, for the
Skidless, isn't it? Or
Skidmore, and just like to say thanks, and the bait's the absolute. Oh, I'm getting tired now, Cliff.
Yeah. Okay, mate. See you later.
See
Bye.
you, mate.
I'm after a big pussy tonight, and this is my secret concoction. It's a good job you can't smell this, because it's pretty evil. Oh, what's happened? Well, it's late July now, and the fishing's been quite difficult for last month. Hardly any carp and catfish caught. Unlike the start of the season, which you've already seen was very productive. But I've fished hard, done quite a few nights, and at last been rewarded with this 44-pound catfish, which is 58 inches long. That's relatively short for its weight.